Hey guys, Timothy here, aka FCU Fan 21, and today I bring you the draft recap for the Burn Tower Draft League. A little bit of backstory: at the end of 2023, I began to feel a bit worn out. I was in 5 draft leagues at the same time, so somewhere mid-December, I decided for myself I needed to dial it back a little bit to make it more manageable for myself, and I chose 3 leagues I wanted to stay in, and the rest, how fun they were or weren't, I would end the season, and after that quit that league. The Burn Tower Draft League is one of the 3 leagues I wanted to stay in, together with the Sunny Shore Battle Federation and the Mighty Mythical Coliseum if they have me back for Season 3. So I signed up for Season 4 of the Burn Tower Draft League. And last season I was in the Raikau division, but this season I made a promotion, or at least somewhat. I did not go into the Entei, nor did I get into the Suicune League. I entered into the Lugia division. And the Lugia division is a new setup. New kind of setup league with a national dex competition. They were looking for coaches, and I said, you know what, I don't really care if I do National Dex or if I do Paldea Dex. I just want to be back in, basically. So I said, yeah, sure, sign me up. And, well, they chose to put me into this division, and damn it, this division is stacked with great coaches. Especially for the Burn Tower Draft League. Coaches like Glacier, the Fat Cat, Daniel K, Milk Chocolate, Aryan, of course, and me are returning coaches, and definitely some great coaches I already knew. Southern Cavern, not sure if he was before this season in one of the Burn Tower Draft Leagues, but I know him from the SBF, and he's a pretty good battler as well. And honestly, some pretty promising coaches, at least I feel like. So, yeah. I think it's a very tough competition this year. My goal is to, of course, make playoffs, and I'll see in playoffs how my season went, and if I want to really say I want to make finals and maybe win it. But yeah, first let's make playoffs, and we'll see during the season how realistic that goal is already. I had one of the best spots in the draft order. I was coach number 2, 4, 6, 8. I was downright in the middle. So, for anyone who is not familiar with how Draft League works, the drafting concept usually goes by snake style order. So you start with number 1, go down to the last number, in our case number 16, and after the number 16 chose the last pick of round 1, they do the first pick of round 2, so they got basically a double pick, and we go back the other way around. So I was dead center. And why no one really wants to be in the middle is you can't really pair up your picks. You just have to hope the things you really want come back to you. And yeah, which is pretty much unavoidable in my position. I got sniped a few times. But let's start with the things I did not get sniped on. First pick was Iron Bowler. I think my nicknames for this season will be pretty easy to spot what the theme is, but let me know if you found it out. I'm not going to say. Iron Boulder was the 8th pick overall in the league. The ones that went before it are Darkrai, Iron Valiant, Tornadus Therian, Landorus Incarnate, Tianpao, Dragapult, and Celesteela. And I got this monster. I just looked up because especially at number 8, I did not plan anything. For my first round pick, I just wanted to look at the board and see what's still available. And I just thought, I really want to try this thing out. And I'll tell you why. Iron Bowler has great offensive typing with Psychic and Rock, but also has a great move pool to back up his 120 attack stat and 124 speed stat. His 124 speed stat already makes it a faster mon than things like the Iron Valiant. It makes it a bit slower than Tianpao at 130, but still. His Mighty Cleave move basically hits like a Urshifu. It goes right through Protect. With 108 special defense and 90 HP, it's still pretty bulky on the special side. And yeah, I saw a potential kill leader for at least my team in this thing. I was really happy with this thing. At 19 points, I felt like, it's pretty well placed on the draft board. I still could have gone for things like Curran Black or Latios. Mega Galate wasn't even drafted. But yeah, I was pretty stoked on my Iron Valiant pick. There are no gifts yet, by the way, for Iron Valiant, so it's a still frame picture for this one. But my second pick actually got sniped in round 1 because Milk Chocolate, a name you will hear from again later, drafted Tapu Koko in the first round, and I really wanted Tapu Koko to go together with Iron Boulder because Electric Terrain, Iron Boulder with 124 speed, that thing, this thing in terrain can even outspeed a Regieleki. I mean, that's just crazy. But I was lucky because another person, the number 2 seed that drafted Iron Valiant, also wanted this next mon, and that was, and I'm not believing that I said it, or at least I'm going to say it, my second round pick was Pincurchin. You heard it right, a second round pick for Pincurchin. I knew he wanted it, so I knew if I wanted to combine my Iron Boulder with Electric Terrain, I needed this thing to automatically set it up. So, Peter Quill, the Pincurchin, is mainly there to let the field go bzzz with Electric Terrain. But besides that, it has some good support moves with like Memento to lower my opponent's attack and special attack stat by half. Pain Split to regain health, and Spikes and Toxic Spikes to set up, which was my first hazard setters that way. It's still pretty decently offensive with 101 attack and 91 special attack. Got Sucker Punch priority, Supercell Slam, which is basically a electric jump kick, not high jump kick, I believe, because lower attack and higher accuracy at 95 for Supercell Slam, so that's nice. And this thing can also go for Scald Burns or Thunder Wave Paras, so this thing will be a great support mon for Iron Bowler. and the rest of the team. So, but besides Iron Boulder, it will also be a great support mon for my third pick overall, and that is Iron Threads. Iron Threads, aka War Machine. I drafted it once or twice so far, and even though it's a great mon, it's always felt a bit underwhelming for some reason. But I believe with terrain support I hope at least I can make it shine a bit more. So, for anyone who's not familiar with Iron Threads, he can set up hazards himself with Stealth Rocks, and he also can learn Rapid Spin for removal. His ground and steel typing make it a great combination with only 8 types hitting it for neutral damage at best. Only 4 weaknesses, 2 immunities, and a whopping 2, 4, 6, 8 resistances, with rock being double resisted. So this thing can tank things on the physical side pretty damn well, and with Iron Boulder being able to tank things on the special side, these two will complement each other pretty well. It also has Volt switch momentum for me, and it is good knockoff support and a 112 attack and 106 speed stat. Make it also it can be bulky, it can be a fast breaker or a fast sweeper. This thing is basically just pretty great in general, I believe. And I think it's Great Tusk was at 18 and Iron Threads was 15 points. So not sure why people did it that way, but I do think they did him a bit dirty there. But I didn't pay as much points for it as I would have done for Great Tusk, so I'm not complaining. Fourth pick was Primarina, aka Namor. First of all, I got my mermaid, and I'm very happy about it. I've become quite familiar with Primarina in other leagues, mainly the DDL and the MMC so far, and let me tell you, this is a great defensive mon. 116 speed SPDEF is already pretty great. 80 HP and 74 defense seem pretty mediocre, but don't be surprised if this thing goes fully physical defensive and just tank hit after hit, because I've done that before. His water and fairy typing make it a great defensive type with only 3 weaknesses in electric, grass and poison type moves. There's a dragon immunity, a dark, fighting and ice resist, a water and fire resist, so pretty major types, or at least offensive types. He can block quite well. I can Perish Trap. I hope I can finally make it work with Whirlpool and Perish Song. With 126 special attack, I don't need much investment to already hit very hard. It got some new moves for me to use this season with Psychic Noise and Alluring Voice. And I just found out, and it's mental, I've never seen it before, but this thing gets stored power apparently. I never knew that, and I'm definitely gonna use it somewhere this competition. So, any coach, watch out for Calm Mind Primarina, because I will let it go run rampant. I promise you this. So, right now I have 3 mons that have a ground weakness in Boulder, Pincurchin and Threads. So I needed to start building up something of a ground resist or immunity, because otherwise ground types would just ruin my team, and put me down. So around this time I started to see a lot of Megas go, and I went with Mega Pidgeot, aka Falcon. And yeah, with a flying type, of course my ground weakness is pretty well patched. Yeah, with this I can just switch into ground moves and they don't do anything, so that's nice. Why Mega Pidgeot? Because first I wanted at least one Mega Pokemon. I could have drafted 2 Mega Pokemons, by the way, in this league, but spoiler alerts, I opted to not do that and just kept it with the one. Mega Pidgeot, I feel like it's a one-trick pony that does his one trick pretty well. 121 speed, 135 special attack. It's not the fastest Mega Pokemon. I mean, Mega Sceptile is 145. And it was also a bit cheaper, but still. No Guard, Hurricane, and Heat Waves are just nasty to prep for, to be honest. So with 121 it's already pretty fast, and it also has Tailwind options to boost that speed. It has agility to boost that speed. I can use Defog with it, and I've never used Mega Pidgeot, at least not competitively, so yeah, why not give it a try? I mean, I already have 2 new mons that I never drafted, the Boulder and the Picurchin. I had 2 mons that I have drafted many times, like Threats and Primarina, so it was time for some new mons. And after Mega Pidgeot, I wanted Rotom Heat, a levitating Pokemon that would be another great counter to ground type moves, because again, levitate. But his villain arc continued, and just before I wanted to draft it, Mr. Milk Chocolates took it right under my nose again. So I had to go with my backup pick, and spoilers, it's not a levitating fire type, it's a grounded fire type. It's Infernape, aka Captain America. It may not be a ground immunity or resist. It's even weak to ground type moves. So I have 4 weaknesses to ground and 1 immunity. But with it being fire and fighting, it has great offensive. It's a very nice offensive fire type. It can also support with Stealth Rocks, Taunt, Knockoff, and Roar. It has lots of setup and priority moves. Things like Swords Dance, Calm Mind, Vacuum Wave, Quick Attack, Mach Punch. So a lot of options on how to use Infernape. 108 is nice to combine with Iron Threat's 106 speed, and with his Iron Fists he can do this all day. So that was my fire type, and I basically thought, well, let's finish that fire water grass core. I had Primarina as my water, I had Infernape as my fire, and I wanted a spin blocker as my grass, so I went with Dhelmise, aka Gamora, because both pretty much green. I've prepped multiple times against a Dhelmise, and let me tell you, this thing is always a nightmare to prep for. I don't know what it is, but I always have a hard time, especially as a Terra Captain. So, if you can beat it, join them. And in his case, he joined me. Like I said, he completed my Fire Water Grass core. It is a spin blocker because it's a ghost type. And it can rapid spin itself to get rid of hazards. It has knockoff support, which is always nice. 131 in attack is very nice because already it already has 3 step types basically, because he always runs Stalwart, Steelworker, Steelworth. Not sure what the name of the ability is. At least he has Grass and Ghost Stab. Because of his ability, he always has a Steel type stab as well. So if you terrestrialize it in a non-stab move, he has basically 4 stabs. I went with Terra, Grass, Ghost and Dark for it. Why Dark? Because basically I wanted to get rid of his Ghost and Dark weakness. I felt like his Grass and Ghost typing were already pretty nice Terra options. Grass is a resist to ground typing, so I wanted to keep that. Ghost is a great Terra type because there's only one thing that really is immune to it, and that's normal. And let's see, Dark was the only thing resisting it, if I'm correct. So a great offensive typing, but to be sure to be able to take Dark type hits, I wanted to be a Dark Terra Captain. With 131 attack, it's hitting hard, and with base 100 defense and base 90 special defense, it's also pretty bulky. So that was a new problem I started to see. I patched my ground weakness up a bit, but I started to see I was lacking a bit in defenses. I mean, Iron Boulder and Iron Threats are bulky offensive. Primarina is bulky offensive. Delmice is pretty bulky defensive, I'd say. But I had nothing that really screams, look at me, I'm very bulky and defensive. And I let that be patched by Umbreon, aka Daredevil. It's always fun to see Umbreon being used, honestly, because people just generally don't seem to be able to get around it that easily. And looking at its stats, I can see why. 95 base HP, 110 base defense, 130 base special defense. How will you ever get around this? So yeah, I needed some more bulk, and what's more defensive than a Umbreon? Yeah, maybe Blissey, but yeah, that thing can take a fighting type physical move, so it's a great support mon. It gets both Heal Bell and Wish. Baton Pass for momentum. I can taunt, even skill swap, and give something a synchronize or inner focus instead of their regular ability, which is nice. And let's be honest, this thing is by far the best evolution design out there. I mean, I like Jolteon, and yeah, that's basically it that comes close to Umbreon in case of design. Umbreon is just so freaking awesome. So yeah, that was my way of picking up a Pokemon, and after this I reminded myself, and hey, I need to wrap up my Fairy Steel Dragon Core. I had Iron Threats as the Steel type, Primarina as the Fairy type. Now I needed a Dragon, and I was thinking about Goodra, I believe it was 10 or 11 points. So I had, let's see, quick math, 15 points left. Goodra was already 11, and I also wanted a grounded poison type. So if I took Goodra, I basically had 4 points for a grounded poison type, and I had something in mind for a grounded poison type, but if I went with that, I didn't really have anything else to draft with my final 2 points. Crocolore was a somewhat option, but didn't really. I didn't really think it fitted the team that well. So I went with Plan B, and I went with Altaria, aka Storm. And like I said, this was completing my Fairy Dragon Steel core, and at 4 points it was a lot cheaper than Gudra. It patched up my ground weakness a bit more because I now had 2 immunities and a resist to ground typing, and with 2, 3, 4 weaknesses to it at that point in draft, I was like, yeah, sure, this works. The great thing about Altaria is something I proved in the SPF already, is it can be both offensive and defensive. I mean, it has a lot of setup options, both offensively and defensively again, with Calm Mind, I believe, with Cotton Guard, with Dragon Dance, so it can you can go both ways. And again, my Terra Captain with Fairy Dragon Steel, so Altaria can be a Fairy Dragon Steel core already all by itself, which is pretty funny. That left me with 11 points to spend, and I really wanted a grounded poison type, and I needed something to patch my speed stats, because Altaria was with 80 a bit of in between Primarina and Iron Threads. So yeah, that wasn't all that great, and I also had a bit of a gap between Iron Threads and Infernape to Pidgeot and Iron Boulder. So I wanted those speed tiers a bit rounded out. So first I went with my grounded poison type, and that was a 2-point mon. I got Hisuian Sneasel, aka Ulysses Claw. Like I said, I needed to patch my speed tier between 108 and 121, and with 115 it fit the bill perfectly. With this thing, I ensure people can just run, if they are somewhere in the 110s, they can just run a Adamant Nature and be sure to outspeed things like Threats and Infernape, because I can bring Hisuian Sneasel and it still outspeeds, and with 150 with 95 attack, it is still pretty menacing in the offensive stat. So it's a pretty strong mon for an NFE, not fully evolved Pokemon. With the Eviolite option with 75 defense, it can be a bit bulky. It has a lot of priority setup moves, and I run some calcs, and it has Nasty Plot. So maybe I can even run special sets, but who knows? It's depending on what I need for the season. That left me with 9 points to spend for my last mon, because we can only draft 11 mons, and like I said, I needed something in between Primarina and Iron Threads, and I went with Tinkaton. Fits well between 80 for Altaria and the 106 Iron Threads with his 94 speed stat. So basically, again, making sure people can just run a Adamant or Modest Nature and are more forced to run Timid or Jolly, and offer up some attacking power to be able to stay not get outsped by Tinkaton. It gives me another stealth rock option. I believe Tinkerton was my third stealth rock option, and it's another good special wall with 105 special defense. Base 75 and base attack and 70 special attack makes it a pretty good mixed attacker. And looking at his typing, only 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 moves again that hit it for neutral at best. So yeah, I think this mon can, with only 2 super effective typings against it, really be a good defensive glue piece for me. So looking at my team, I have pretty good speed stats, I think. Biggest gaps are between Threats and Umbreon, basically. The 106 to 94 is pretty solid with 12 points. Tinkerton Altaria is 14 points, and Altaria Umbreon is 15 points. Not the best there, but still doable. And everything below that normally does not run all that much speed. Looking at my SPDEF stats, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mons with at least 100 base special defense and a team average at 94. It's pretty decent. I have 3 mons with a special attack stat higher than a 100, but things like Pincurchin at 91, Altaria at 70 and Tinkerton at 70 are also things that can run special sets. And like I said, even Hisuian Sneasel can surprise with a special set, so who knows. Defensively, 3 mons at least 100 with Dalmice, Umbreon and Iron Threats. Pincurchin just below that. Altaria is also able to be a physical set. And like I said, even things like Primarina base 74 can be a physical wall. And 87 average defense in the team is not that bad. My physical attack is a bit higher than my special attack. Mainly because I don't have something as low as 35 there. So the 35 from Sneasel takes my special attack average pretty far down. Iron Boulder, Infernape, Iron Threats, Dalmice, Pincurchin all hit above 100, which is nice. So a lot of options there. My HP stat is not all that great. Base or an average of 77 is pretty bad. But looking at defenses, Umbreon 95, 110, 130 is pretty nice. Altar of Primarina 80, 74, 116 is pretty good. Altaria 75, 90, 105. Threats 90, 120, 70. Boulder 90, 80, 108. I mean, yeah, a high HP stat is nice, but you don't really need all that much HP if you are very bulky, and I think I do have enough bulk in this team. Looking at my matchups, I only have a big ground weakness again, with 6 mons having a ground weakness, against 2 immunities and 1 resistance. Let's see. Tinkerton is one of my Terra captains, and that can take away his ground weakness. And the other 2 are Altaria, that does not need, and yeah, so I can patch that up a bit. So no real big weaknesses besides my ground weakness. Looking at the types I have double fighting type in Sneasel and Infernape, double flying type in Altaria and Mega Pidgeot, double steel type in Tinkerton and Iron Threats, and a double fairy type in Tinkerton and Primarina. You can say Tinkerton is type-wise a bit unnecessary, but I do think he will play a significant role at least in, again, patching my speed tiers and being specially defensive. Kind of a different role from Iron Threads, at least. And looking at the useful attributes from mons, I have 3 Stealth Rockers in Tink, Threads and Infernape. I have a Spike Setter in Pincurchin. I've got Toxic Spikes from the Sneasel and Pincurchin. I've got 2 Defoggers in Altaria and Pidgeot. 2 Spinners in Threads and Delmice. I've got some momentum with U-turn on the Mega Pidgeot and Infernape. Volt Switch on the Threads. Primarina can run Flip Turn if I wanted to. Not the best Flip Turn user, but still. 4 knockoff mons in Tinkerton, Threads, Ape and Delmice. I've got Wish support from Umbreon. 2 Sucker Punch users in Umbreon and the Pincurchin. Aqua Jet priority from Primarina. I've got 4 Taunt users in Umbreon, Sneasel, Boulder and Infernape. I can paralyze things with 3 Thunder Wave users in Umbreon, Tinkerton and Pincurchin. I can burn things with Will-O-Wisp from Infernape and from Altaria. And with 6 Toxic users in Umbreon, Primarina, Mega Pidgeot, Infernape, Delmice and Altaria, I have enough options to Toxic some mons. So, this is my team for this season. Again, I really hope I can make playoffs. I know Daniel was really hoping to play me this season, and I saw already in the schedule I will not play him in regular season. So, Daniel, if you watch this, we better both make playoffs, because I saw your interview with Steve, and I know you want to trash my team. So, better come to playoffs and play me there, because we won't be facing each other in regular season. I will play my week 1 this Friday, and let's look at my schedule for the rest. I do think my week 1 battle will be up either Friday or Saturday. So if you look forward to it, let me know in the comments. What do you think of my team? Again, let me know in the comments, because I always like input from others. And it makes me think about the team and see things in a different perspective. So maybe I can use some tips on how to improve this team if I agree with you on that. Furthermore, I've been Timothy, aka FCFan21. And I hope to see you all for my first game at the end of this week. Up the Vivillance!